Hello all. So in the previous tutorial, we discussed that how a front-end application is being built and how a back-end application is being built. And we also said that we will come back to the database part. So we'll quickly start with the database thing. So for the database, we do not have to, develop any code as such because we are going to utilize already existing image, right? So which is like from the official Docker Hub, we have a Mongo image that we have. Maybe we'll be utilizing that particular image to you know uh, in order to utilize in this particular use case, right? So with that said, let's see how we can set this applications interact. Okay, these containers, first what we'll do is like we will bring up a Mongo container, then we will bring up our backend container, and then we'll bring up our front end container. Okay, so to start with this, let's take a look here. So let me see if there are any running containers with me. Okay, I don't have any. Do I have any Docker images with me? All right, that's good. So now we will start a Mongo container, right? The Mongo database container. So to start with this, the image name is Mongo. I'll be running this particular image. So if you remember, like, we do not have this image on our machine, right? So ideally what would happen is Docker would look for that particular image in the local, and if it does not find, it will go to the internet and pull the data. Oh, sorry, pull the image. So before we do this, what I'm going to do is Docker run. I'm going to name this image. Maybe I'll say excellency Mongo DB, and I'm going to run this in a detach mode, and I want this container to be removed whenever it is stopped, right? And I want the data to be persisted even when the container is stopped, right? So this is all like some networking, or some other depth concept of the Docker. Will not be deep diving on those features. The assumption is like we are already aware of what a volume is, what a network is, right? So let me quickly set up a volume for this movies, and it is going to be slash data slash db data slash db. All right, then I think I'll need a network. Now this network is basically going to bring all my containers to the same network. So let's see, maybe I'll just name it something net. Okay, so here is what it is. So I'm having a docker run command, right, where I named my container, and just gave a name to my container. Then I'm running this in a detached mode, and this container will be removed whenever the container is stopped, right? And I'm having a volume setup because whenever the container stops, I don't want to lose the data even when the container is being stopped or killed, right? So this is how we set that up, and then I have the network that is established, and then I run this. Okay, because it doesn't find this image, it's going to bring that particular image. uh, we'll come back once this image is brought in and the container is up and running. Okay, so basically what has happened here is it was trying to build an image, the image was built, but when it was trying to run the container on that particular image, we got into a problem because we had given an invalid container name. So I had to just rectify that. After I rectified that, then I had a problem where I was not able to run the container, set up the network. So I basically, the volumes, if they do not exist, they get created. But for a network, it is not the case, right? So we have to, create the network first. So I just created a network, and then I again started the container. Now, if I see through this, yes, hyphen a, I can see that the Mongo container, right, is up and running. Now with this Docker Mongo container up and running, now it's our time to bring up the backend application. So let's go there. So I'm going to open another shell. This is the shell for our Mongo container. Now I'm opening another tab where I'm going to, bring up the backend container. So in order to bring up the backend container, because this image we need to build, right? So I'll build this image, Docker build. Maybe first I'll have to navigate into the movies hyphen backend, right? Then I'll build the image, Docker build hyphen t. Maybe I'll give some name to this image. I'll say excellency hyphen movies hyphen backend hyphen image dot. Okay, so here we go. So we'll wait for the image to get built. It should not take a longer time because, as you know, the Docker file is cached by layer, right? So because it's just the clean build, that's the only step that it should take time. But rest all should be built from the bottom from the cache. All right. I think we should be done. Okay. So the build image has been run. Okay. So Docker run. Once the image has been built, right? So the image has been built here, right? Okay. Now, because the image is ready, now I'm going to run the container for this. So Docker run. So in order to run this container, I'm going to give it a name doc, sorry, excellency hyphen movies hyphen backend hyphen container, right? Because this is a container. Then I'm going to run, I would like this to be removed whenever the container stops. Okay. And then I would like to expose the, I would like to pass the properties, right? If you remember, like we had some, this one's shared. So MongoDB host DB. Now this is important, okay? This is how the interaction happens. So if you remember, this host, whatever we are giving, this is going to match to this particular name, right? Whatever the Docker Mongo container name that we had given, excellency MongoDB. And because this is in this network, right? Excellency movies network. So this container is in, and the other container that we are building, they are going to be in the same network. So they should be able to, interact with them. So excellency hyphen MongoDB. And then I need another one, which is MongoDB underscore port, which is equal to 7017. Okay. Now I also have to ensure that this is also being added to the same network. Excellency hyphen net, right? So I'll quickly check, and I need a port that I have to expose. 80, right? And then whatever is the container name. So sorry, the image name. My image name was excellency hyphen movies hyphen backend hyphen image, right? So that's it. Now I'll go ahead and click on run. So my backend container has started, right? In the similar fashion, now we are going to bring up our front end container, right? So the same things again. This is also we do not have an image, so I'm going to build the image for this. So to do that, I'll have to go into the front end, right? So I'm going to say docker build. Oops, sorry, docker build hyphen t excellency hyphen movies. I'll give something, right? Dot. So I'm going to build the Docker container. So this is the command. Okay. Now we can see that the image is ready, right? Now I'm going to start this container too. So how do I start? Again, Docker run whatever my image name was. So the image name was excellency hyphen movies hyphen fe hyphen image, but I'm going to give it a name here. So the name, this is a basic convention that I follow. This is up to the users, right? So I'll say this is a container. So this is a container, and I would like to expose this port because I would be accessing it from my local host, right? So that's it. This will bring up our front end into the container. So let's hit it, give it a shot. So if you see here, the container is up and running. Now I'm going to open the browser, go to localhost. If you see here, I don't have anything here. So I'm going to click on add, right? So I'll just say check, right? Anything for that matter. Not really. I'll give something 100 minutes. Save the changes. The movie has been added. I'll click on close. I can see that it's persisted. Right now, the catch here is, in order to make these interactions, right? If you look through, these all are the different types of commands that we had to run through. You had to, for the Mongo, you had to run the Mongo container. You had to start the container. Although, like, for this image, it's like, some existing image that we have used. So in order to establish this container, these all are the, we had to create a volume, we had to create a network, right? And similarly for the backend container, we had to do the build of the image, right? We had to build the image. Once the image was built, then we had to start the container, right? So this is all the start the container, right? You had to again set up your environment variables, your network, your port that you are exposing, right? And the same thing when it went to the front end container, front end image, we had to build, and then to run the container, we had to again expose the port and etc. Right? So the pain problem that we see here is the number of commands that we had to run through, right? That's the problem that Docker Compose is going to solve. Okay. So let's see you in the next tutorial. We'll see how Docker Compose is going to solve or help us in this situation. See you in the next tutorial.